Okay, let's start the clock. Welcome to a typical day on Earth, 100 million years ago.
The air here has way more oxygen, which means even the insects are supersized. You would not want this guy flying into your windshield. And down here, hiding in the shadows, are our distant ancestors. Right now, mammals are and here are the giants. This iguanodon is just starting its breakfast, which for a creature this size is pretty much an all-day affair. And he's not alone. Moving in herds is the best defense when you're on the menu for some of the biggest predators the world has ever seen.
Speaking of the menu, meet the apex predator of this continent. That's a Carcharodontosaurus, the shark-toothed lizard. But the danger isn't just on land. The skies are patrolled by pterosaurs. They aren't actually dinosaurs, but they're definitely the kings of the air around here.
Once they are clear of the river, they have found a real treat. Flowering plants are a brand new thing on the evolutionary scene, basically a high-energy snack.
Then you have the walking tanks of this era. With armor plating this good, even that giant predator we saw earlier might think twice about starting a fight.
As we get towards mid-morning, the heat and humidity really start to kick in. You can practically feel how thick and heavy the air is.
The land is incredible, but a lot of the action during this period is happening in the water. These massive, shallow seas covered huge parts of the continents. And these seas were home to some of the most amazing marine reptiles ever, like this plesiosaur. That super long neck isn't just for show. It's a perfect tool for ambushing fish that get a little too close.
If plesiosaurs are the gliders, ichthyosaurs are the fighter jets of the Cretaceous seas. Unbelievably fast, and built for the chase.
The whole food web is here. You've got ammonites, which are basically squid in a shell, and even giant sea turtles that would dwarf the ones we have today.
Okay, back on land, it's time to meet the real heavyweights. These sauropods were the largest animals to
They were basically living, breathing ecosystems. Being this big means you have to do one thing all day, every day. Eat.
It's amazing to see. The head is tiny compared to the body, and it's just designed to get as much food as possible down that long neck.
And of course, where there's a meal this big, the apex predator is never too far away. He's not going to risk attacking a full.
These smaller guys are the early warning system for the whole floodplain. They just sensed the predator, and now everyone is on high alert.
The predator isn't looking for a fight right now, it's looking for a weakness. This is a game of intimidation, trying to make one of these behemoths break ranks. But these giants have been doing this for millions of years. Their defense is simple: strength in numbers, and a whole lot of tail.
He's not happy. A roar like that would stop your heart. But these titans barely flinch. The hunt continues, just not right now.
Not all hunters rely on brute force. These raptors are the special ops of the Cretaceous. Smart, agile, and they work together.
Their strategy is brilliant. They don't just chase, they anticipate. It's a deadly dance, and their prey rarely gets away.
And just like that, it's over. Survival here is a constant struggle, and these guys are just exceptionally good at it.
Even after a successful hunt, there's no rest. Every predator knows that another, bigger one, is always watching.
In the calmer, muddier waters, another silent hunter lurks. This isn't just a crocodile, it's a Deinosuchus.
And unsuspecting herbivores, like this hadrosaur, are always looking for a drink. And just like that, the swamp comes alive. You can see why they call these guys terror crocodiles. This is raw, brutal power. There's no escape from a grip like that. Once the Dinosaurus gets a hold, it's all over. An absolutely terrifying display of power.
And just moments later, it's like nothing ever happened. The swamp returns to silence, hiding its secrets below. We're now at the hottest part of the day. The sun is absolutely brutal, and for most animals, there's only one thing to do: find a way to cool off.
A mud bath is the perfect solution. It's sunscreen and bug spray all in one. These guys have the right idea.
And for our tiny ancestors, the best strategy is to just hide from the sun completely. They're nocturnal for a reason. This was a much more volcanically active world than ours. In some places, the planet itself feels like it's alive and breathing. And even in an environment this extreme, life is tough. It finds a way to adapt and carve out an existence.
When you get this close, you see they're not monsters, just animals, perfectly adapted to their time and place, living out their day.
When you're this big, even digesting is a full-time job. The early afternoon is for processing all those tons of plants they ate this morning. It's the afternoon lull. The whole world seems to be holding its breath, waiting for the crippling heat to pass. As the sun gets lower, the temperature finally starts to drop. The world is waking up from its afternoon nap. That's the signal. It's time for the evening meal, and with creatures this big, they need to travel constantly to find enough food.
With the worst of the heat gone, there's a lot more energy. Social bonds are reaffirmed, and the young get a chance to play and practice their skills. And the sky is coming alive again too. These aren't quite the birds we know today, but they're already starting to conquer the air.
The whole rhythm of the day is changing. Even the plants are responding, closing up shop as evening approaches. The predator is back on the clock. The cooler air means it can cover more ground without overheating. It's looking for one last chance at a meal before nightfall. And this is exactly the kind of mistake the hunter is waiting for. A moment of distraction is all it takes.
But their family bonds are strong. That's the signal to circle the wagons, and it's one of the most effective defenses in the entire Mesozoic.
That is a meal that's not worth the injury. A smart predator knows when to back down and look for an easier target. As evening approaches, the great migrations continue. It's a constant search for food, water, and safety before the darkness sets in. This is the magic hour, the day's final, beautiful spectacle before the world changes completely. The rulers of the sky are heading home for the night. These cliffs are the perfect roosting spot, high, inaccessible, and with a great view. It's amazing to see such a massive animal be so precise. Folding those wings is a complicated process, and they do it perfectly every time. For the largest animals, night brings vulnerability. They find safety in the open, where no predator can approach without being seen. And there it goes, the end of another day, 100 million years ago. But the story isn't over.
As the giants sleep, the meek inherit the earth. With the big reptiles out of the way, the night belongs to the mammals.
Just listen to that. The sounds of the day are gone, replaced by the chorus of the night. It's a completely different world. The great hunter couldn't make a fresh kill today, but it won't go hungry. In this world, nothing ever goes to waste.
The night is full of eyes. Big and small, predators and prey.
The day is done. The earth is quiet for a few hours. But the cycle of life, of survival, never really stops. Once your eyes adjust, you realize the night isn't truly dark. The moon is so bright, and the air...
This is prime time for the mammals. With the daytime tyrants asleep, they can finally move freely and find food without constantly hiding.
But the night has its own hunters. This is a troodon. It's small, but it's thought to be one of the smartest dinosaurs.
The cycle of hunter and hunted never stops. Survival in this era is measured in seconds, day and night.
And then you see things that look like pure magic. This isn't electricity. It's a fungus that creates its own light.
It's not just fungi either. Insects are putting on their own light show. It's a secret language.
Some of the daytime predators are still very much awake. The giant crocodiles don't need sunlight to be terrifying.
Every sound in the night could be a threat. And when you're this small, your only defense is to be awake and ready to run. A close call. Whatever was out there, it's moved on. Tonight, they are lucky.
The hours of darkness are coming to an end. The earth has completed another turn, and the sun is on its way back.
This is the quietest moment. The night creatures have retreated, and the day animals have yet to stir.
The hunters of the night fade away like ghosts. Their shift is over, and they yield the world back to the sun.
And that's the signal. The first bird call, echoing in the quiet, announcing that the day is returning. The giants are waking up. It takes a lot of energy to get a body this size moving again after a long night. It's time for the morning roll call. They gather the herd, check on the young, and get ready for another day of non-stop eating.
And there it is. The sun returns, bringing with it warmth and life. A new day has...
For these flying reptiles, the sun is like a battery charger. They need its warmth to get their muscles ready for a long day of soaring. And with that leap of faith, their day begins. The hunt for fish is on, and they will patrol these skies until sunset.
With a full belly, the great hunter is no longer a threat. For now, it's just another animal trying to get a drink. And so it goes. A single, ordinary day, 100 million years in the past. A day of
Now that the day is underway, we can explore some of the different ecosystems. Not everything lived on the open.
And here is maybe the weirdest dinosaur of all, Therizinosaurus. You'd think it's a terrifying predator with claws like that, but you'd be wrong.
Those claws are a perfect example of evolution. They look deadly, but they're actually delicate tools, a kind of prehistoric gardening rake.
And the danger here isn't always from giant animals. Even the plants in this era could be predators on a smaller scale.
A perfect trap. For a creature this small, that plant is just as deadly as a Tyrannosaurus rex.
Meet the dome-headed lizards, the pachycephalosaurs. It doesn't take much to guess what that incredibly thick skull was used for.
This wasn't just random fighting. It was likely a ritual to establish dominance, like bighorn sheep do today. A living, battering ram.
And while the pterosaurs were the kings of the sky, smaller, more bird-like creatures were already carving out their own niche. But not every interaction was a fight for survival. Symbiotic relationships were common. A you scratch my back, I'll be your lunch kind of deal. And every so often, a single moment, a single step, is captured, buried by sediment. When you pull back, you realize this isn't just a different landscape, it's a different planet. A warmer, wetter world. It was a world forged by fire. Constant volcanic activity pumped carbon dioxide into the atmosphere.
But amidst all the danger, life was always looking to the future. These nesting grounds were cities of dust.
And here is how it all continues. A tiny, fragile beginning to what might be. The oceans were just as strange and wonderful. Reefs were built by giant clams, and the dominant predators were... How many sunrises has this old giant seen? How many seasons has it survived? All these different lives, all these different ways of seeing the world, each one a unique window into this lost kingdom.
This was their world. A world of impossible scale and breathtaking beauty. It existed like this.
A world that is gone forever, but one that left behind clues, ghosts of bone, waiting in the dark for us to find them.
And in finding them, we find a connection back to this lost world. A reminder of the incredible story of our planet.
Our journey doesn't end there. To truly understand this era, we need to travel the globe, starting here. This was the kingdom of the Mosasaurs. Not dinosaurs, but giant marine lizards that evolved to become the...
They were ambush predators with a terrifying secret weapon. A second set of teeth in their mouths to ensure that once they bit down, nothing ever escaped. But not all marine reptiles were brutal hunters. The Elasmosaurus used its impossibly long neck as a delicate... Even the fish here were the stuff of nightmares. Fossils of Xiphactus have been found with their last meal still perfectly preserved inside them.
And on the coastlines, the famous Tyrannosaur lineage was already making a name for itself. Even these earlier forms...
The skies above the seaway belonged to Pteranodon. They were masters of soaring, able to travel for hundreds of miles over the open ocean. Birds were also adapting to this marine world. Hesperornis couldn't fly, but it was such a powerful swimmer, it didn't need to. And all of this life, after it died, would drift down to the seafloor. Over millions of years, this incredible inland ocean was a world unto itself. But it's just one chapter in our story.
Our journey now takes us to what paleontologists call the River of Giants. A wet, tropical environment.
Meet Spinosaurus. At over 50 feet long, it was bigger than a T-Rex, but this giant wasn't a land hunter.
And its main prey were the giant fish of this river system. It was a master fisherman, perfectly adapted for this environment. But the Spinosaurus wasn't the only giant predator here. On land, the shark-toothed Carcharodorus was
Stolun. And if two giant predators weren't enough, the rivers were also home to Sarcosuchus, a crocodile so large. Of course, to support this many giant predators, you needed equally giant prey. The sauropod Paralititan.
The river itself was a lost world of ancient fish, many of whose relatives are still alive today, hiding in the deep oceans.
But not everything was a heavyweight. This ecosystem also had its sprinters, like Deltadromeus, built for speed and agility rather than brute force. Even the pterosaurs here were different. Many were terrestrial hunters, stalking the wetlands for small prey. A land of giants, all living side by side in a precarious balance. A unique and deadly paradox. Our next stop takes us to the end of the Earth. Forget the frozen wasteland you know today. Our next stop takes us to the end of the Earth. Forget the frozen wasteland you know today. Since the animals that lived here had to be specially adapted. Meet Lilianasaura. Those enormous eyes. Day and night as we know them didn't exist. During the summer, there was only one long, continuing province. The cold rivers here provided a refuge for ancient creatures, like the giant amphibian Kulasuchus. But the endless day had to end. The sun finally sets, and it won't be seen again for months. The great polar night is beginning. But darkness here wasn't total. The sky often put on its own light show. The southern lights, and even in the dark, the hunt continued. Predators here had to be able to find food without the help of the sun.
Survival meant finding shelter and sticking together. These small dinosaurs likely stayed active.
And then, the return of the light. After months of darkness, the sun comes back, and the cycle of life.
from one extreme to another. We now traveled inland deserts of ancient Asia.
Meet Protoceratops. These hardy herbivores were the sheep of the Cretaceous desert. That bony frill wasn't just for show.
And this is what they are famous for. The discovery of Protoceratops nests and eggs in the Gobi Desert. First,
And where there are eggs, there are hunters. This is the real velociraptor, not a 6-foot-tall.
This is Oviraptor. For years, it was called the egg thief because it was found near Protoceratops nests. But we now know the truth.
Their strategy is classic pack hunting. Create confusion, separate the young from the adults, and strike quickly.
But these herbivores were not helpless. A bite from that beak could shear through bone, and they would defend their young to the death.
And sometimes, that defense resulted in a stalemate. A battle so intense that both combatants were locked together in a duel to the death.
And in cruel twist of fate, the desert itself became their tomb. A sudden landslide buried them in the middles. A perfect fossil, born from a perfect storm of life, death, and geology. From the Glees. Next, we journey to ancient Europe. But the continent we know was gone, flooded by the islands. On these islands, a strange evolutionary rule took hold: island dwarfism. With limited food, they were perfect miniatures, containing all the majesty of their giant cousins in a compact form. It was a brilliant...
And it wasn't just the sauropods. Duck-billed dinosaurs, armored dinosaurs, many species evolved.
But while some animals grew smaller, others became giants. With no large theropods to compete with, standing nearly 20 feet tall, with a skull the size of a bathtub, Hatzegorix was a terrestrial stalker.
It was a complete reversal of the normal order. Here, the flying reptiles were the land-based tyrants. And the sea that isolated these islands was no safe haven. The oceans were still ruled by the same marine giants. It was a strange and beautiful world, a natural experiment in evolution, producing a cast of characters found nowhere else on Earth. A lost world of giants and dwarfs. From this strange island home, Our journey through time and space takes us to its final stop. We are now at the very end of the Age of Dinosaurs. This was the era of the ceratopsians, perfected. Triceratops was a formidable herbivore. And then there were the hadrosaurs, like Edmontosaurus. They were the cattle of the Cretaceous, moving in. And if the Triceratops was a fortress, the Ankylosaurus was a living tank, covered in armor and wielding a tail that... But this incredible ecosystem of herbivores was only possible because it could support the largest land predator of all time.
The Tyrant King. Tyrannosaurus rex. This was the culmination of 100 million years of therapy. It wasn't a scavenger. It was an active hunter. And its attack was pure shock and awe, designed to cause chaos and pick off.
But the other giants in this world did not stand idly by. The Triceratops was more than a match for a Tyrannosaurus, and it would not hesitate to intervene. The immovable object versus the unstoppable force. The ultimate battle of attack and defense. A scene that must... Victory, for now. Life in this ancient world continued. A drama of predator and prey. Cretaceous. The last day began like any other, but the animals could sense something was wrong. A deep...
For millions of years it had traveled through space, a messenger of cosmic chance, carrying with it a power that life on Earth had never before encountered.
In its final moments, it lit up the sky, a spectacle of terrifying beauty. And then, impact. The energy released was more than 1 billion times that of an atomic bomb. In a single...
The asteroid didn't just hit the Earth. It became one with it, transferring all of its cosmic velocity.
The first killer was the shockwave itself. An earthquake so powerful it was felt on every continent on the planet. The second killer was the heat. A pulse of thermal energy radiated from the impact, so intense it broiled the land. And the sky itself turned into a weapon. Debris from the impact, thrown beyond the atmosphere, now fell back to Earth. The third killer was water. The impact created a tsunami on a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend, washing the coasts of the world clean. For those who survived the first few minutes, the ordeal was just beginning. Their world was now in a... The fires were only the beginning. The real killer was the sky itself. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stopped. The plants, the great producers of energy for the entire planet. The oceans, which had absorbed so much of the initial impact, were now starving. The microscopic life that... For the great herbivores, it was a slow, agonizing death by starvation. In a world without plants, their size and strength meant nothing. The apex predators soon followed their prey. A world of bone-crushing power is useless when there is nothing left to hunt. The impact had fundamentally changed the planet's chemistry. The air itself became toxic, and the rain burned the land and poisoned the water. Following the darkness came the cold. A nuclear winter, born from an asteroid, gripped...
But life is resilient. And in the shadows, a new kind of hero was emerging.
An era that lasted 180 million years did not end with a bang, but with a slow, cold... But even an apocalypse of this magnitude could not extinguish life completely. After the long...
Life returned. But it was a simplified world. For thousands of years, hardy ferns were the only plants that could...
For the survivors who emerged from their burrows, it was a strange and empty paradise. With the dinosaurs gone, 1,000 evolutionary doors swung wide open. Mammals for 150 million. As the soil recovered, so did the plants. The ferns gave way to flowering plants. But the age of mammals wasn't a given. In the first few million years after the extinction, the top predator role was Venus. The oceans were also being repopulated. And from the ranks of the mammals, a new group was beginning its journey.
It didn't take long for mammals to start experimenting with size. These early plant eaters were the first mammals to reclaim the title of giant.
And we must not forget the true inheritors. The dinosaurs never really vanished. They are with us today. We just call them birds. And up in the trees, a new branch of the mammal family tree was taking hold. A small, unassuming lineage. It had no way of knowing it, but it was the ancestor of a lineage that would, in another 65 million years. The Age of Mammals was a story of its own. 65 million years of evolution. And within that story, a single lineage of primates came down from the trees. They learned to walk on two legs, to see. Eventually, they learned to control fire. And with it came storytelling, art, and the ability to ask questions. And we, their descendants, never stopped asking. We learned to read the stories written in stone. It is a story that captivates us, that connects us to a past so deep it's almost beyond comprehension. It reminds
The world they left behind is now ours. We are the inheritors of their legacy.
But their legacy isn't just in stone. It is alive, all around us. In the
Their voices may be different, but the song of survival is the same.
You really don't appreciate the scale of these guys until you're right up close. That's a whole lot of thirsty dinosaur.
While the giants get all the attention, life for the smaller guys just goes on. Sunbathing is a timeless classic, apparently.
And here's something revolutionary. Flowers. They're just starting to show up, but they're about to change the world forever.
And of course, wherever you find a big herd of herbivores, the welcoming committee isn't far behind. That's the classic mistake, isn't it? Getting distracted by a snack and losing track of your group.
And there they go. Their speed is just unreal. They cover ground so fast. It's a race for its life. That powerful tail isn't just for show. It's a vital stabilizer at high speed.
That's the money shot right there. That infamous claw is out and ready to do some serious damage.
But the herd has its own defenses. There is absolutely no messing with a protective adult. Not every hunt is a success. Today, the herd wins. Better luck next time, guys.
Meanwhile, the walking tank of the Cretaceous doesn't have a care in the world. Being covered in armor has its perks.
Life moves fast when you're this small. You're constantly looking for your next meal and trying not to become one.
As the afternoon wears on, the real masters of the sky take flight. The sheer size of their wings is just breathtaking.
And that is a perfect catch. Incredibly precise, barely even made a splash.
And down on the forest floor, a little hint of the future. Our distant ancestors are staying out of sight, waiting for their time.
The light at this time of day is just incredible. It turns the whole forest into this peaceful, ancient cathedral.
Even the king has to take a nap. All that hunting and patrolling is hard work. Watering holes are the social clubs of the Cretaceous. It's a chance to drink, but you can never fully relax.
Some things are just timelessly beautiful.
Not everything is about survival. Sometimes you just have to run around and have some fun.
This little guy has a neat trick. When the water gets bad, it can just breathe air directly.
These trees are living fossils, even back then. Ginkgos have been around forever, quietly watching the ages pass. You just have to stop and take it all in sometimes. A whole world, totally untouched and wild.
And there's a sound we can all recognize. The birds are heading home for the night.
Out in the coastal waters, the sea monsters come out to play. That's not a dinosaur, but it's just as amazing.
Time to circle the wagons for the night. Even the biggest of the big have to watch out for their kids.
Some hunting strategies never change. The patient ambush predators are settling in for the night shift.
What a view to end the day. The king surveying his kingdom one last time before dark. And as the dinosaurs sleep, a new world awakens. The night belongs to the small and the furry.
And the night has its own predators. Silent hunters perfectly adapted for the darkness.
Even the forest itself seems to come alive at night. It's like a whole different planet.
With no cities or lights for thousands of miles in any direction, the view of the stars is just.
And that's it for the day. 100 million years ago, the world goes to sleep, mostly. The night shift is in full swing. Everything from the insects on up is on the move.
It's so peaceful out here. It's hard to believe the chaos and action of the daytime.
Even at night, you can't let your guard down. Thirst is dangerous. And that's why the river has monsters that hunt by moonlight. This world is still very much alive, geologically speaking. The ground itself is breathing. These guys are the specialists of the night. Those huge eyes can see perfectly in the dark. And that's a successful hunt. Quick, quiet, and efficient.
A little visitor from outer space. A reminder that we're all just on a rock, flying through the cosmos. But for most, the night is for rest. A time to be safe and recharge for the day to come. The night doesn't last forever. Before you know it, a new day is on its way.
On the coast, the day starts early. The fishing fleet is getting ready to head out.
Mornings in the valley are just magical. The whole world is covered in this soft, quiet blanket. And that's the signal for the night crew to clock out. Time for our tiny ancestors to get some sleep.
Some creatures don't really care if it's day or night. For them, it's always time to wait for a meal to swim by.
The first one to catch the sun, using that giant sail to warm up its body and get a head start on the day.
Everywhere you look, there are signs of the giants who walk here. Little moments frozen in time.
And there are ghosts here too. Fossils from millions of years before even this time. A reminder that nothing lasts forever.
It's the little details that really make this place feel alive. So much beauty in such a dangerous world.
And there's the morning alarm clock. The king is awake, and a new day in the Cretaceous has officially begun.
Out in the shallow seas, you get these incredible herds of plesiosaurs. They move like mythical sea serpents. But the sea has its T-Rex too. The Mosasaurs are the undisputed top predators of the ocean.
If you thought the Sarapelta was well defended, meet its cousin. This one is basically a living cactus.
Look at that teamwork! It's proof that these weren't just mindless monsters, but clever and adaptable animals.
Life finds a way to conquer every environment, even up here in the thin, cold air of the mountains. The weather here can be extreme. A single storm can change the landscape overnight, creating new challenges. When you look into their eyes, you don't see a monster. You just see an animal, living its life.
The plants here are just as alien as the animals. Some of these ferns and horsetails are from lineages that are incredibly ancient.
And some rituals are truly timeless. 100 million years from now, her descendants will be doing the exact same thing.
It's one of life's most dangerous journeys, and it starts the second you're born. Go on, little guy, you can make it.
Wildfires are a natural and necessary part of this ecosystem, clearing out old growth and making way for new life.
They all know the drill. It's not a panic, just a steady, orderly evacuation. They've been through this before.
And after the fire comes rebirth. The world here is incredibly resilient. You have to wonder what calls a place like this home. Probably not something you want to meet in the dark. This is like a prehistoric highway, a frozen moment showing who passed by and where they were going.
An event like this is an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's a feeding frenzy for anything that can catch them. It's not all about eating and not being eaten. There's always time for a little romance and showing off your spectacular headgear.
In the dry season, the land is harsh. The very air seems restless. And in the end, everything returns to the earth. Even the greatest giants become just a memory.
Well, hello there. You never know who you're going to meet when you're just sitting around.
The weather can turn in an instant. That peaceful afternoon is about to get a whole lot more dramatic. You can smell it in the air just before it hits. That amazing smell of rain on dry earth. For them, this rain is life. A welcome relief from the heat and dust of the dry season. The power in these storms is just on another level. It's a full-on sensory overload. And just like that, the quiet stream becomes a raging river. The whole landscape is being reshaped right before our eyes. And after the storm comes the calm. And sometimes, if you're lucky, a little bit of magic.
First things first after a downpour. Time to shake it off and dry out.
The whole forest feels fresh and clean now, and all the little guys are coming out to enjoy it. And the night brings a different kind of beauty, a sight we'll never get to see in our time. Even sea monsters have to sleep. They just turn off half their brain at a time and float.
It turns out some of the first flowers were night bloomers, a whole secret garden that only comes out after dark.
That is some serious intelligence on display. Using tools to get a meal is a huge leap.
And in the far north, the sky puts on its own light show, a reminder of just how wild and beautiful this planet can be. And for some, the long day is finally over. It's a peaceful end to a long life.
And here, nothing goes to waste. Death isn't the end. It's just a transfer of energy that allows others to live. The cycle of the day is complete. A day of hunting, surviving, growing, and resting.
It's a completely different world, and yet, it's the same planet we're standing on right now.
Just one ordinary day out of millions just like it.
The new day starts with a song, That incredible crest isn't just for show. It's a musical instrument to communicate across long distances.
School's in session for the smartest dinosaurs on the block. Lesson 1, how to catch your own breakfast.
We forget that it wasn't all tropical jungles. Down south, near the pole, you had—
And of course, where there are herbivores, there are predators. These guys are built for the cold, big, tough, and always hungry.
Now this is one of the weirdest dinosaurs I've ever seen, specialized to absolute perfection for one job, breaking into termite nests.
That single claw is like a tiny pickaxe, and its snout is the perfect tool for getting at the protein-rich snacks inside.
Life in the desert means you're always on the move, searching for the next patch of scrub or hidden water source.
The riverbanks are the most dangerous places to be. You have literal monsters the size of a bus waiting for one wrong step.
The dangers for the next generation are everywhere. Even the snakes here are big enough to steal an egg that's bigger than their own head.
You feel them coming long before you see them. Each step is like a small earthquake. This is the definition of a heavy hitter.
Sometimes you just have to get a bird's eye view. Or, I guess, a pterosaur's eye view. The world looks so different from up here.
That right there is a giant swimming buffet. Time to go fishing.
A perfect strike. And with a built-in takeaway container, you can't beat that for convenience.
And here come the pirates of the Cretaceous skies. They'd rather steal a meal than catch their own. And you thought modern bugs were bad. Even the parasites back here are supersized.
Being the biggest animal around doesn't mean you don't have to deal with the smallest annoyances.
This world isn't just shaped by the animals, but by the planet itself. And right now, the planet is in a really bad mood. This is bad news for everyone. It's not just the eruption, it's the fallout that can cause real problems. This stuff gets in your lungs, in your eyes. It makes life miserable for every living thing. The ash is poisoning the water. An event like this can wipe out the entire river ecosystem.
For the scavengers and top predators, a disaster like this is also an opportunity. It's a grim part of the natural cycle.
For the smallest creatures, survival is about finding the little pockets of clean water and waiting for the disaster to pass. But life is resilient. The same ash that brought death now provides the nutrients for a new burst of life.
Welcome to the mangrove forests, a totally different kind of ecosystem, full of its own unique challenges and inhabitants.
You have to be a specialist to make a living here. This guy is perfectly adapted for hunting in the shallows.
But the water has its own dangers, and this one is a true leviathan. The battles for dominance aren't always fought by giants. On a single leaf, there's a whole world of drama playing out.
Nesting grounds are a dangerous place. For predators, it's a buffet, and they rely on speed and surprise to get in and out.
Even the fiercest predators have a softer side, though his idea of a love song sounds more like a warning. There are hidden traps in this landscape. A tar pit is a death sentence, a slow and terrible fate. And where there's struggle, there are opportunists. The tar pit provides an easy, if grim, meal.
Beneath the surface lies another world, a hidden kingdom of stone and crystal.
Life finds a way into every corner of the planet, even in places that will never see the sun.
The scale of some of these herds is hard to comprehend. It's not a group of animals, it's a moving ecosystem.
That's one way to solve an argument. Literally using your head as a battering ram.
These guys are the beautiful, weird cousins of modern squid. They were so common, they're basically the icons of the prehistoric seas.
But being beautiful doesn't make you safe. For a mosasaur, they're the potato chips of the sea.
The cleanup crew of the Cretaceous is incredibly efficient. Within days, every trace of life is recycled.
This dinosaur got a bad rap. Its name means egg thief. But it turns out they were just really good parents, protecting their own nests.
This isn't just mindless aggression, it's a complex, strategic hunt. They're working as a team to take down prey 10 times their size. Time is so deep here. This tree was a fossil even back then, a relic from a world that was ancient to the dinosaurs.
Not all sea monsters were chasing big game. This one is like a giant, underwater sandpiper. A salt lick is like a local pub, a neutral ground where different species can gather to get the nutrients they can't get from plants.
Flight evolved many times in many different ways. This little guy just decided to turn its whole rib cage into a hang glider.
These little drops of tree sap are perfect time capsules. Tiny windows into the past.
Life out here is tough. These are true living fossils. Their ancestors were doing this long before the dinosaurs, and their descendants will do it long after.
Even the king of the dinosaurs had to start somewhere. And every clumsy pounce is a lesson learned. The ocean has its own stars. Every movement creates a ripple. You have to wonder, what does a 50-ton giant dream about?
Some of these forests feel truly ancient, like something out of a fairy tale. It's quiet and dark and full of secrets.
When they first found the arms of this thing, they thought it was a monster. Turns out it was just a giant, gentle, swamp-dwelling weirdo.
When the heavyweights fight, the whole world shakes. This is a battle of pure, unstoppable force.
The dinosaurs aren't the only destructive force out here. A swarm of insects can be just as devastating as a forest fire.
Even at the bottom of the ocean, life finds a way to build on the ghosts of the past.
You get used to the planet letting off a little steam. For the locals, it's just part of the landscape.
And here we have the local cleaning service. It's a great deal for everyone. He gets a meal, and the big guy gets rid of pests.
We focus on the giants, but the world is really run by the incredibly small. There's a whole ecosystem in a single drop of water.
It's not always the predators you have to watch out for. Sometimes the ground itself is trying to get you.
This one has seen it all. Every scar tells a story of a battle won, a life lived to the fullest.
The storms here don't mess around. All it takes is one strike to start a fire that can reshape the whole forest.
You develop a sixth sense for danger out here. Some things just don't feel right, and you learn to trust that instinct.
It's the ultimate example of teamwork. Millions of tiny individuals working together as a single superorganism.
Even the open ocean has its traps. A kelp forest this thick can be a death sentence for an air-breathing animal.
When your neck is longer than your entire body, you can hunt in places nobody else can even reach.
Out here, the sun plays tricks on your eyes. You can't always trust what you see.
It's a classic trap. The hunter becomes the hunted, caught by something it probably didn't even see.
So much of the beauty of this world is in the tiny, tiny details. Just incredible.
They've figured out that working together gives them a better chance. More eyes, more ears, more safety for everyone.
And there's another survivor, a fish that was old when the dinosaurs were young, hiding in the deep, dark places of the world.
This whole world is a machine made of countless moving parts.
It's all driven by a simple, brutal equation: the hunter and the hunted.
But it's also driven by cooperation, a web of connections that creates new life.
1,000 different worlds, all on one planet. A world of giants, built on a truly epic scale. A world where everything, no matter how big, starts small.
A world of transition, where the past was giving way to the future.
And at the end of it all, the day gives way to the quiet of the night.
A single moment, holding a reflection of the entire cosmos.
It makes you feel very small, and yet part of something immense.
It's all a cycle. Life and death and new beginnings.
And every now and then, a moment is caught, buried, and saved.
For 100 million years, this was the world. Wild, untouched. But in the shadows, a new story was just beginning. A story of survival. A story of waiting for a chance to inherit the Earth.
The universe is always sending messengers, reminders that nothing, no matter how powerful, lasts forever.
But tonight, the world is at peace.
One day in the life of a lost world.
A world that seems so alien and so far away.
And yet, this wasn't just their world. It was the first draft of ours.
And yes, for anyone wondering, the spiders are here. And they are very, very big.
It's not just the animals that are hunters. Some of the plants have evolved to fight back.
Okay, that's the stuff of nightmares. It's like a living, armored train of pure nope.
Even the little guys fight for dominance. These bright colors aren't just for show. They're a warning sign that says, do not eat.
I had to come find this one. This is Nigosaurus, and its mouth is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It's the lawnmower of the Cretaceous.
It had over 500 teeth in its mouth at any given time, with replacements ready to go. Talk about being prepared. Just when you think you've seen it all, you meet a dinosaur with a dental situation like this. Those teeth look like a built-in fishing spear.
This is what the far future will find of this time. A giant jigsaw puzzle of bones. Some designs are just timeless. That tongue-firing mechanism is a masterpiece of evolution.
The kingdom of fungi is a huge part of this world. They're the great recyclers, and they grow incredibly fast.
And just like today, some of those mushrooms have...
Can you believe this? This is the ghost of a rainstorm. The actual impact of raindrops, fossilized forever. The ocean is full of these guys. They're like the ancestors of modern squid, and they are everywhere. And they're a popular item on the menu. The ichthyosaurs are so fast,
so perfectly adapted for hunting them.
This is what happens when lightning strikes sand. It creates these glass sculptures, a permanent scar left by the storm.
One animal's scratching post is another's dinner bell. Everyone benefits.
Down in the deep ocean, it's a world of eternal night. So you have to make your own light and hope it attracts dinner, not a bigger predator.
And that's how it's done. A perfect, inescapable trap.
This is how the armored tanks settle their disputes. It's not fast, but the power in those tail clubs is absolutely immense.
That's a bone-shattering impact. A direct hit can cripple you for life. He's decided this fight isn't worth it.
The seasons here are extreme. The wet season brings floods, but the dry season can be just as deadly. The drought affects everyone, even the top predators. When the herbivores leave to find water, the hunters starve.
The arrival of flowers changed everything. A new source of food and a new splash of color.
And with flowers comes pollen. I guess hay fever might be a prehistoric problem too.
You do not want to be caught on the ground when this happens. It's like being in the middle of a living earthquake.
A ghost story told in stone. A journey with a sudden, tragic end. A single moment of misjudgment, preserved for 100 million years.
Sometimes you find these little windows, looking from the ancient past into the even more ancient past. It really messes with your head.
The landscapes under the ocean are just as dramatic as though on land. Whole rivers of...
Some rivalries are eternal. Bigger claws, same attitude.
It's not just the herbivores that need minerals. The flyers need their electrolytes too. It's the Cretaceous version of a sports drink.
The swamps are basically giant compost heaps. They're constantly brewing and bubbling with flammable gas. Life here is tough, and injuries are common. But these animals are incredibly resilient, built to take a beating and keep going.
You find the most amazing things if you just watch long enough. I don't think he's exercising, I think he's just trying to get the good bit of fungus on the other side.
This is the secret to how they got so big. Their skeletons were full of air, like a bird's. They were giant walking zeppelins.
Every now and then, you just get a perfect moment. A perfect image that you know you'll never forget.
The start of a new generation. A journey of 1,000,000 to 1. All riding on a lucky gust of wind.
And at the end of all the chaos and survival, there's always time for rest. A little glimpse of the birds that are still to come.
And here is the absolute monarch of the skies. When this thing takes flight, it's like a small plane lifting off. Imagine that shadow passing over you. It's a reminder that even the biggest land animals have to share the sky.
Not all mammals are hiding in the shadows. Some have adapted to totally different lifestyles, even becoming semi-aquatic. Not all mammals are hiding in the shadows. Some have adapted to totally different lifestyles, even becoming semi-aquatic.
The ocean giants come in all shapes and sizes. This turtle is bigger than a car, and it just cruises through the sea.
Every day, across this world, new life emerges. A brand new story, just beginning.
It's a miniature jungle on every surface. Another world you only see if you slow down and look closely.
And here's a true adventurer, finding new ways to travel through the air, even without wings.
Every layer of rock here is a chapter. Millions of years written in stone, if you know how to read it.
Sometimes, the universe puts on a show just for us. A reminder of the incredible forces at play beyond our atmosphere.
These quiet moments are just as important as the big dramas. Finding peace, even for a moment, in this wild world. A living fossil from a time before this one, still standing tall. A symbol of resilience and enduring life.
Another tiny window into the past. So much detail, frozen in time for us to discover.
One of the best parents in the dinosaur world, always looking out for her little ones, keeping them safe from the many dangers.
Just endless wilderness. A planet that is truly wild and untamed.
And a new day begins. Just one more day in a million-year story.
The fragments they left behind are the only way we know what this incredible place was like.
Before there were dinosaurs, before there were fish, there were these, the truly ancient architects of life on Earth.
Sometimes, the light itself feels like a message, a sacred moment in a very old world.
Every step leaves a mark, a temporary signature on a changing world.
The giants fall, just like everything else. But even in its death, it creates new life, new spaces.
It won't be long before the cleanup crew moves in. Nature never wastes a single bit.
The start of another day. And this vast ocean holds mysteries we can only imagine.
Even the sea monsters know how to have a little fun. They're just like the dolphins we know, but 100 million years earlier.
This is it. The grand stage for the greatest show on Earth.
Every detail, every tiny interaction adds up to the whole.
Even the simple things can be a challenge when you're small and clumsy. He's trying his best.
That's why you always stick with your mom. She's got your back, no matter what.
The end of another day. And the end of this incredible journey.
The final word from the king of this lost world. A sound that has echoed through millions of years.
One creature in a world full of giants, under an endless sky.
This incredible blue marble. The stage for so much life and so much history.
Millions of years, countless days. Empires rise and fall. Species come and go.
And through it all, life finds a way. Adapting, evolving.
The land itself is restless, constantly moving, constantly reshaping the map of the world.
Then, one day, everything changed. A single catastrophic event that reset the clock.
The longest night. A new era of darkness and cold.
But even then, life held on, waiting for the sun to return, for the world to heal.
And from the shadows, a new dynasty emerged. Our ancestors, ready to take their place in the sun.
And then, in a blink of an eye, a species began to walk upright, to think, to wonder.
Our story began. Building, growing, changing the planet on an unprecedented scale.
Our modern world, so different, and yet built on the foundations of everything that came before.
And we, the inheritors of that ancient world, are left to wonder.
To wonder about the giants that walked before us.
The world changed, but the fundamental rhythms remained. Day, night, seasons.
To feel their presence, even after millions of years. And to understand that we are all part of the same incredible story.
The lineage continues. The past is not gone. It's simply evolved.
And sometimes, if you look closely enough,
you can still feel the echoes of their day in the life.
The story of our planet. A story of endless change. A story that continues, even today.
I wanted to start this new exploration by looking at the stories written in the bones. We find...
But survival is also about adapting. If you can't outrun your prey anymore, you have to outsmart it. We find these polished stones inside dinosaur skeletons. They swallowed them on purpose to help grind up tough plants in their... It's not glamorous, but even fossilized poop tells a story. It's how we know exactly what they were eating, right down to the type of fern.
Just when you think you've seen every type of sauropod, the world throws a curveball like this. Are those spines for
And then you get this guy, who completely broke the sauropod mold. He's the black sheep of the longneck family.
We've even found evidence of dinosaur diseases, like respiratory infections, in their bones.
It's moments like this that really drive it home. That's not just a monster, that's a giant prehistoric bird, keeping its plumage in good condition.
This is the secret to their flight. Bones as thin as paper, but reinforced to be stronger than steel for their weight.
some of these trees are so big they can burn on the inside for years and still survive. They become living. And of course, a hollow tree makes for the perfect, ready-made house. Safe, secure, and very spacious.
Another one for the weird but true category. We have no idea what that hump was for. Was it a fat store? A display structure? It's a total mystery. And get this. The fossils of this guy have bumps on the arm bones, just like a modern bird where big...
Forget shark teeth. This is the most impressive set of chompers in history. A literal wall of teeth, perfect for chewing the toughest plants.
This is a hunt, frozen in time. You can see the exact moment he saw something and decided to go for it.
It doesn't get much cuter than this. The little one is walking in Mum's footsteps, literally, to stay safe.
That's the sound of a stomach the size of a small car, full of fermenting plants and grinding stones. It's the engine room of the Cretaceous. Bless you! I guess when you're that big, everything you do is on an epic scale.
That's not a yawn, that's a warning. It's a way of saying, look how big my mouth is. Are you sure you want to do this?
Curiosity almost got the better of him. Sometimes your appetite gets you into trouble.
The crocodiles here didn't just stick to the rivers. Some of them went full-on marine, evolving into these fast, dolphin-like predators.
This is fantastic. It's not just about herds, it's about individual relationships. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Something feels a little bit off, and you can't place it at first. The days are shorter here. The Earth was spinning, and at night, the moon is bigger. It was closer to the Earth 100 million years ago. The tides would have been much more extreme.
And that's the result of that bigger moon. Tides so powerful they can make a river flow backward for a while.
Forget oysters on the half shell. You'd need a construction crew to get into one of these things.
This is a perfect example of convergent evolution. A dinosaur that evolved to act just like a modern sandpiper.
Yep, some problems are universal. Getting food stuck in your teeth is just as annoying now as it was 100 million years ago.
It's amazing to think that a simple walk on the beach like this could one day become a major fossil discovery.
You see that? A moment of surprising delicacy from a giant killer. Maybe they weren't just mindless monsters after all.
I wish you could smell this. It's this incredibly rich, earthy smell of damp soil, rot. Even getting a drink can be a strange experience. That's a whole layer of protein on top of the water.
That's how you stay alive out here. You never fully switch off. Always listening, always watching, even in your sleep.
Right there. That's a bubble of air from the time of the dinosaurs. What would it be like to breathe the air of this ancient world?
The air itself was different. More oxygen meant more fuel for life, which might be one of the reasons these animals could get so incredibly huge.
It's all about perspective. For the smallest creatures here, the dinosaurs aren't even animals. They're just walking, earth-shaking geological events.
You look up at the night sky for something familiar, but there's nothing.
Not all deaths are violent and quick. Sometimes, nature is slow.
We know from fossil pigments that some of them had feathers like this, the same kind of shimmering beauty you see in a modern starling. Some of the big migrations happen at night to avoid the heat of the day. It's an eerie, silent parade of giants.
And after all the noise and the struggle for survival, the world can still be this. Simple and quiet.
I wanted to find one of these before we finished. A crocodile that doesn't swim, but gallops. It's a terrifying and frankly awesome combination.
We don't have to guess what their skin was like. We have fossils of it. We can see the exact pattern of their scale.
This is absolutely incredible. We have a fossil of this exact moment. They gave live birth, just like whales.
It's not all about survival. There's always time to play. They're just practicing for the big leagues before their heads turn into solid bone.
That's incredible social behavior. They're looking after their elderly. It's a sign of a complex, caring herd dynamic that we rarely get to see.
Down in the polar south, you get these natural tombs.
The planet's inner fire is close to the surface here. You have to know where you're stepping, but it's one of the most.
This is a huge deal. It's not just instinct, that's problem solving. Using a tool to get a meal. That's a level.
If you ever want to see a dinosaur, just look at a bird's foot. The skin, the scales, the claws, it's all right there.
Every one of them perfectly adapted for their world. For running, for swimming, for carrying impossible weight.
A silent migration under a different sky. A sight that no human eye was ever meant to see.
Even for the king, it's not all about the hunt. There are moments of quiet, of just existing. In the end, this is all that's left of that vibrant,
living world. These echoes in stone.
Every bone we find is a word. And slowly, carefully, we piece them together.
And try to tell their stories. To rebuild their world, just for a moment.
This was their world. A world of unimaginable scale and breathtaking beauty. As our long day comes to an end, I just wanted to look back. We've walked across 100 different worlds. Yeah, from the stifling heat of the swamps to the impossible cold and darkness of the poles. We've stood in the shadow of giants that were ancient even then.
And we've watched the planet itself breathe and boil.
We've witnessed the timeless rhythms of life, a cycle of brutal struggle, and the profound miracle of new beginnings.
We saw fierce rivalries, where dominance was everything.
And we saw the innocent games of the next generation. It was a world in constant motion, in a dance that lasted for millions of years.
It was a world of giants, yes. But their story is meaningless without the story of the small.
Creatures who lived in the cracks and shadows of their world. They were the survivors, the witnesses, the inheritors.
And everywhere we look in our own world, we see their ghosts.
The patterns of life, repeating themselves through the ages.
The same jobs, the same designs, separated by an ocean of time.
This ancient world isn't entirely gone. It's just evolved.
And for all we've learned, so much remains a mystery.
What sounds did they really make? What colors were they really?
How did they think? How did they see their world? Some stories are lost forever.
But if you close your eyes and listen closely, you can still hear the echoes.
Their time was over. But they left behind a world transformed.
A world that would, eventually, become ours.
And their story is written in the rock beneath our feet, in the birds in our skies, and in the deep, shared history of all life. A connection. A way for us to touch this lost world.
And to remember that their legacy is still with us, all around us. Thanks for coming on this incredible journey. It's been the adventure of a lifetime.
We've seen the epic hunts, but what about the end of the story? The fossils tell us they grew old and their bodies wore.
Or imagine this, a toothache that could kill you. This fossil shows a dental infection so bad it broke the jaw.
The hardest evidence of all comes from the bite marks. Sometimes, the only thing on the menu was each other.
And their battles weren't always external. Their insides were a jungle too, full of parasites we've found traces of in their fossilized dung.
Let's look at a secret world I haven't shown you yet. The forest isn't just a collection of trees.
The plants here were in a constant arms race with the animals, evolving toxins to avoid being eaten.
The air itself is alive. A synchronized pollen storm, a reproductive strategy on a massive forest-wide scale. For a plant, this is a great adventure. Sending your children off on the river, hoping they find a good place to put down roots.
And here's a crocodile that decided to be a vegetarian armadillo. This is Mosasaurs. It lived in a burrow and ate plants.
Is it a duck? Is it a swan? Nope, it's a dinosaur. Halskaraptor was semi-aquatic, built for a life both on land and in the water.
Meanwhile, down in Australia, evolution was running some very...
The sea monsters had their own special tricks. That throat pouch allowed it to swallow prey much larger than its head.
It's not just the volcanoes and the earthquakes. Sometimes the world changes one hillside at a time.
The rivers themselves are alive. They're never in the same place for long, constantly writing and rewriting the story of the land. When the weather decides to get nasty, there's nowhere to hide. All you can do is find some cover and wait for the world to stop sandblasting you.
After the fire, there's this profound silence. It feels like the end of the world.
Look at this feather. It's asymmetrical. That's a critical feature for powered flight. Even if this guy couldn't fly, he had the basic equipment ready to go.
Before they perfected the two-winged model, evolution tried out the biplane. It's a bizarre but beautiful step on the road to true flight.
We've found trackways that show herds doing this, walking for miles across the bottom of a shallow sea to get to the... I know we thought our day was over, but there were a few more stories from the fossil record I just had to show you.
And that right there is why it's a brilliant strategy. Sometimes, the best defense is to simply not be seen at all.
Even the largest sea reptiles were vulnerable. A single toxic bloom could wipe out an entire ecosystem from the bottom up.
So because of that one little detail in the bone, we can say for sure, this wasn't just a predator. She was a mother.
We can even see evidence of diseases like cancer. These animals suffered from many of the same ailments we do today.
And this is one of the greatest survival stories ever told in stone. This hadrosaur was attacked by a T-Rex.
And it got away. It lived long enough for its bones to heal around the teeth of its attacker. What a fighter.
The world itself could be toxic. These red tides, caused by blooms of algae, could poison the water for hundreds of miles.
The level of detail we can find is just staggering. We have evidence of parasites that lived on the dinosaurs.
It just proves that some things never change. Being itchy is an ancient, universal misery.
Sometimes, it's not the bones that tell the story, but the tracks and traces they left behind.
An entire city, built and abandoned in a single tide, now preserved in stone.
We know this happened because we found Spinosaurus bones with sawfish teeth embedded in them. The hunter became food for one of its own prey. Modern birds do this. It's called anting. They use the ants' natural defenses to clean parasites from their feathers. It's possible the dinosaurs did it too.
We used to think they had scaly, lizard-like feet, but fossil mummies show they had these thick, fleshy pads. A simple gust of wind could be a real hazard. All that dust and grit could cause serious eye injuries if you weren't careful.
And for every moment of terror, there were 1,000 moments of peace. Just life being lived.
So, what have we learned from this incredible day?
where the meek were preparing to inherit the earth.
That every moment, no matter how small, could leave an echo.
And that it's our job to listen to those echoes. To see their legacy in the world all around us.
And to remember that their story is our story too.
This was just one day. Imagine all the days that came before and all that came after.
Thank you for spending this day with me, here at the dawn of our world.
As our incredible journey through the Cretaceous draws to a close, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on everything we've witnessed.
This is where it all begins for us. The traces they left behind.
These incredible bones whisper stories of giants that once strode across continents.
And delicate details that reveal a world far more complex than we ever imagined.
We've witnessed the raw power, the immense scale, and the sheer wonder of life 100 million years ago.
But also the tenderness, the complex social bonds, and the quiet moments that define their day-to-day existence.
As the light fades on this ancient world, it's natural to feel a sense of loss.
This planet has seen countless sunsets, each one marking the passage of unimaginable time. But the story of Earth isn't just a series of disconnected chapters. Every bird you see flying, singing, or walking past you carries a piece of that ancient history.
And our jungles still echo with the wildness of their world.
The roars of today's apex predators carry the echoes of the giants that came before.
We are the inheritors of this incredible legacy.
And our curiosity, our desire to understand, is what truly keeps their memory alive.
Millions of years have passed. Continents have drifted. Mountains have risen and fallen.
The very map of the world was constantly being rewritten.
Until one catastrophic moment changed everything. A long, dark night descended upon the planet.
But even then, life found a way, adapting, enduring.
The Age of Giants ended, and from the shadows, a new era began to dawn.
The story of our own ancestors, taking their first tentative steps towards a future none could foresee.
Until our world, a world of technology and light, became the dominant force.
A world utterly transformed, so different from the one we just left. But a world still connected to that ancient past. A planet that still breathes, still lives. Look closely at the serrations on this tooth. Each one tells a story of survival some 6.5 million years ago. To bridge the gap between then and now.
To remind us that we are all part of an unimaginably long story.
And at the end of every great journey, we return to where we began.
To a world that was. and to the echoes that remain. All that life, all that struggle, reduced to these tiny, perfect fragments.
A message in a bottle, across an ocean of time.
A connection. A way for us to touch this lost world.
And to remember the giants who walked the earth. Long before our story ever began.
Their story is over, but their song is still with us.